In the beginning, before the world was as we know it, there was chaos. From this disorder emerged the gods, and among them were the Titans, giants of immense power and wisdom. One of the wisest and most compassionate among them was Prometheus, whose name means Forethought. He looked upon the newly formed earth and saw that, although animals and birds roamed freely, there was no creature with reason, intelligence, or spirit. Moved by a vision, Prometheus molded a new being from clay. This creature, made in the image of the gods, was man. He shaped it carefully, and with the help of Eros, the spirit of life, and Athena, the goddess of wisdom, man came to life, gifted with a soul and the spark of consciousness. Yet, while divine in form, man was helpless in practice. He had no claws, no fur, no natural defenses. He was weak, vulnerable, and lived in darkness. Prometheus watched his creation with growing concern. He had given life to something precious, yet mankind was at the mercy of the elements. He begged Zeus, ruler of the gods, to grant humanity the gift of fire, the divine flame that warmed, lit, and forged. But Zeus refused. Fire was sacred, meant only for the gods. Giving it to man, he believed, would make mortals too powerful, too independent. Determined to save humanity, Prometheus defied Zeus. In secret, he climbed to Mount Olympus, lit a hollow reed from the chariot of the sun, and carried the flame back to Earth. With this gift, humanity transformed. No longer did people cower in their tools and shape their destiny. Civilization was born from that stolen flame. Zeus was furious when he discovered Prometheus's rebellion. He saw the smoke rising from mortal lands and knew that the gods' most sacred power had been stolen. As punishment, Zeus had Prometheus chained to the cliffs of Mount Caucasus, where each day a monstrous vulture would tear out his liver, only for it to grow back at night. This torment, designed to be eternal, was a cruel reminder of the cost of defying divine authority. But Zeus's wrath extended beyond Prometheus. He also sought to punish mankind. If fire had been their blessing, he would send a curse wrapped in beauty. He commanded Hephaestus, the god of fire and forge, to sculpt a woman out of clay, one of perfect form and irresistible charm. The gods each added a gift: beauty from Aphrodite, music from Apollo, clever speech from Hermes, and grace, charm, and mystery from the rest. The result was Pandora, the all-gifted. She was breathtaking, curious, and radiant. Along with her, the gods sent a sealed jar, or box, which they warned must never be opened. She was presented as a gift to Epimetheus, Prometheus's brother, whose name means afterthought. Though Prometheus had warned his brother never to accept gifts from the gods, Epimetheus was enchanted by Pandora's beauty and welcomed her without question. For a time, all was well. Pandora and Epimetheus lived happily. But the sealed jar haunted Pandora's thoughts. What was inside? Why had it been given to her? Why was she forbidden to open it? Her curiosity grew stronger each day. She had only ever known gifts and blessings from the gods. Surely the jar must contain something wonderful, perhaps a surprise meant only for her. One day, unable to resist any longer, Pandora opened the jar. In an instant, the world changed. From the jar burst forth all the evils that had been locked away since the beginning of time: disease, war, envy, hatred, sorrow, and death. These dark spirits swept across the earth, infecting every corner of humanity with pain and suffering. Pandora, horrified, tried to shut the jar, but the evils had already escaped. As silence returned, Pandora peered into the jar and saw one final thing. At the very bottom, fragile but still glowing, was hope. It had remained trapped inside, the last gift of the gods, left behind, perhaps intentionally, so that mankind would never be without comfort, no matter how dark the world became. Pandora released it, and with it brought balance to the chaos she had unleashed. Thus, humanity was forever changed. With fire came knowledge, creativity, and civilization. but also pride, greed, and destruction. With Pandora came suffering and mortality, but also the gift of hope, which would allow mortals to endure, to dream, and to persevere even in the face of despair. Prometheus, meanwhile, continued to suffer on his lonely mountain. Day after day, the vulture returned, feasting on his liver as punishment for his love of mankind. Yet he never gave in, never revealed the secret that could have freed him, never bowed to Zeus. In his agony, he became a symbol, not just of rebellion, but of sacrifice, resistance, and the cost of progress. Poets and philosophers through the ages have returned to this myth. To Shelley, Prometheus was a symbol of revolution, the one who brings enlightenment despite oppression. To Milton, he was a rebel cast down by divine jealousy. To Byron and Lowell, Prometheus represented the suffering of those who dare to challenge tyranny and elevate others. Pandora, too, is more than a cautionary tale. She is a reflection of human curiosity and innocence. Her story reminds us that knowledge and freedom come with consequences, but that within the worst of trials, there is always the chance for redemption. Hope, the last thing in the jar, remains the beating heart of this myth. In a world filled with fear and pain, it is hope that keeps us going. Hope that allows us to heal, rebuild, and reach higher. It is the final gift of the gods, and the one that makes all others worth having.